I think Australia is really blessed. I only hear that kind of music when I watch Mushu, you know, the Chinese film. And the beautiful acting that we saw from the group at Wiley Park. That's really great. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. English is not my first language, so I'll try and speak it slowly so that we can understand one another. I do not have an Aussie accent. I do not have an American accent or a British accent. My accent is African. I'm greatly honored to speak here this morning at Canterbury Library. And as you know, the theme of this week across Australia is restoring hope to refugees. But let me begin by saying that we all need hope, whether you are a refugee or a citizen. We need hope that tomorrow will be better, no matter what happens today. The consequences of lack of hope do not discriminate between a refugee and a citizen. But what is hope? I had a look at the dictionary because, as I said, I'm not an Englishman. Hope is defined as a belief that something desired will happen. And for those that read the Bible, hope is defined as an assurance of things to come. Therefore, I would like of you to think about hope as a rich mixture of belief and assurance. We all believe in something or someone. We believe in our families, the values of hard work, honesty, equality, and fair go. That is the Australian mantra. I too believe in these things. Personally, I also believe in God. Now, the God that I believe in is the one who understands refugees more than they understand themselves. And you might ask, how come? And it's because that God had a son who was a refugee in Africa, in Egypt, and that's why he found peace. But I want you to know this, that whatsoever you believe in, that too I respect. So let me start by thanking you for coming here this morning, and be the first to congratulate you for showing high hopes and great levels of motivation. Secondly, may I thank the sponsor of the event, the manager at Campsie, Michelle, and particularly Wendy for asking me to speak. May I also thank Jeremy there on the video and the MC as well. I have to say, I'm more excited about meeting new people than the speaking bit, but I'll give it my best shot. First things first, a quick introduction. As Paula said, my name is Mwangi wa Mutuanene. I'm from Kenya in East Africa. I was born in a small village. We all come from villages. My village was called Wanguru on the slopes of Mount Kenya. And as some of you will know, Kenya is legendary home of the great runners. It's also the land of the beautiful and diverse wildlife, the big five, the leopards, the lions, and the giraffes, and rhinos, etc. And I'm sure you watched that in the National Geographic films. In the next 10 minutes, I would like to briefly tell you my story, and some of that is contained in my book that is recently published. It's called The Weatherproof Salesman. Now, the weather in the book actually means the people issues that we have to confront every day. Either you are a migrant or a refugee or a citizen, doesn't matter. As well as the environmental issues that we confront every day. You know, we complain when it's raining, we complain when it is hot. So these are the issues tackled. As I've said, I'm Kenyan, but as well proudly Australian. And I became a citizen in 2006 after I arrived here in 2004 as permanent resident with my wife and 2 children. But my migration story did not start in 2004. It started in 1995 when I left Kenya in search of what we call greener pastures. And in Kenya, I left behind a newly married wife who was 7 months pregnant with our firstborn baby. And needless to tell you, when the time came for the baby to be born, I was 6,000 kilometers away in another village called Mutuanene in South Africa. I could only be there in spirit. I think that is not the best way to start fatherhood for those that want to become fathers or already fathers. Later, however, in March of 1996, my family and my wife joined me and my son Meleki. And later in 1997, we had another daughter born to us in Johannesburg. Now, you might be thinking, why did I leave Kenya where there was no war? And that is a very long story. And let me put it this way. I worked there for quite some time and quickly realized that all I could afford with the salaries in Kenya was to live hand to mouth pay rent, pay transport to and from work, buy some food, and then the little savings that were left would only not barely pay school fees for my nephews and my nieces. I knew if I lived there, I would die a poor wretch with an accomplished, lofty dreams and great ideals. So after a while, I came to what I call a chilling conclusion, that it was more honorable for me migrating, and if it means dying out there, rich or poor, other than staying at home, while fighting the vicious cycle of poverty. In one word, I became, as many of you are, economic refugee. But even with that concrete conviction, nothing can fully prepare anyone for the shocks that you experience in another country, apart from your mother country. But I knew something else as well, that whoever has lived outside their country, and you people are living outside your country, that they are already a changed person. They are already a changed man or woman. Their mental, cultural, and social blinkers are fully opened, and I was ready to throw away mine. In South Africa, we lived for 8 years, confronting many problems that I dare not go into. But in the end, Australia granted us a permanent resident. For those 14 years, when I look back, I think my African patriotism was fully tested and proven, and I decided it was time to move on. So we arrived here in 2004, as I've said. And in the next few months, we went through what you call a J-curve learning. We had to learn all sorts of things to make sure that we settle down easily. I also have to say that we found the help from Centrelink very, very handy because we had some savings, but savings cannot last indefinitely. Very soon we discovered that the issues of settling down we had experienced in South Africa mirrored those that we were experiencing in Australia, although from a different angle. My wife and I had to look for jobs. Now, getting a job was not easy. My first job was to wash cars at the airport. I did that for 1 day. But the manager called me, he didn't pay me. He said he would call me the next day, but I never heard from him. So I moved on to another car wash and carried on. Meanwhile, I wrote hundreds of application letters, close to about 400 between 2004 and 2006. I did, luckily, dozens of interviews, but mostly was told that I had failed or I was overqualified. Very interesting. Because one time we had to sit down with my wife and say, what's happening? Why are you not getting a job? And she told me, you know, sweetie, I know the problem. With these masters of business administration on your CV, nobody will employ you, so we deleted that away. So I said, okay, now I have an honors degree in agriculture. Another few rounds of applications, it is still not working for you, sweetie. We deleted that away. Now, okay, what do you have? A diploma in management science. Still another round of applications, still not working for us. So tired of washing cars, I moved into telemarketing, courier transport, and then finally into my sales job, my first sales job. Let me say this, that the key thing really that got me a job in the first place was volunteering, so that I could get the local experience. Now, using my earlier training, I joined a small IT company and developed the marketing strategies and sales materials for free. And in return, I could use them as a reference. This is the local experience that the Aussie employer wanted. So, if you are still looking out for a job, here's a shortcut, please volunteer somewhere. The parallel similarities between settling down in South Africa and Australia and how I was adapting prompted me to put my experiences down on paper. It became clear to me why many migrants don't cope or mostly settle down for what is less than they are capable of, while others really pack their bags and go back home. It also struck me that the local people, even when they are very good meaning like all Aussies are, may not fully understand how to help the migrants. The details are contained in this book, but due to limited time, I'm not able to discuss everything, but feel free to get yourself a copy after we finish. For now, let me say this, that for all your problems, please count your blessings. Firstly, for being in Australia. In Kenya, it holds one of the highest number of refugees. It's close to 1 million, the last time I checked. As the lady here said, the manager said, Australia gets about 30,000 every year. So you can see the difference. Being a third world country, Kenya does more than its fair share. But I've seen untold misery, hunger, malnutrition, diseases, poor hygiene, and images of people staring death in the face. I say again, count your blessings really for being in Australia, where there are specific facilities like Metro, Migration Resource Centers, libraries like this one with qualified people who are always ready and willing to help. Please make use of these facilities to help yourself. And remember this, never allow anyone or anything to put your hopes down. Not the least, your status as a refugee. You are no different from Captain Philip Cook. Because I know this, that the real difference between a refugee and citizen is not so much in their birthright, or in paper certificates, or in electronic certificates, but really by what one is prepared to invest with their lives. Never allow your origin to put you down, whether you come from the jungles of Africa, Asia, America, or Europe. We are all children of the same universe. The American astronaut, Neil Armstrong, realized that too well when he landed on the moon, a different part of the universe. Nor should you allow your past to determine your future. It surely has played a key role in your present status, but the future wholly belongs to the designs of your mind and on your hands. You can influence its outcome. Never allow anyone to label you as a failure, illiterate, or poor, because failure belongs to those who have lost hope. Illiteracy, measured in Western education barometer, is not an indicator to your God-given intelligence. And poverty, that's not a contagious disease. You do not have to pass it to your children. You can severe and cut that link. The true pen with which you label your future is your thought process. Whatsoever you say to yourself, deep inside you, and you believe in that, that will transform into your attitudes and actions. And these two things will definitely influence your future status. But in order to positively realign and streamline our thought processes, each one must confront the enemy which is inside each of us. Each must confront and deal with the monster that is inside him or her. Now that monster has two heads. One of the heads is called self-doubt, thinking that I'm not as good as my neighbor. The second head is called procrastination. I'll do it tomorrow, next month, next year. Never gets done. So, two heads, self-doubt, procrastination, that is the real enemy inside each one of us. You deal with yours, I deal with mine. May the God of your ancestors really bless you and bless this beautiful land of the Aborigines that we call home. The land beneath the Southern Cross, may the Lord bless Australia. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was quite a story. Well, that brings us to the end of the formal program, but the idea behind this morning, we called it a welcome morning tea because we wanted you all to stay behind, have a cup of tea, a lamington and a piece of cake, and stay and talk to each other because we're a community here and we like to encourage our community to get to know each other. So I hope you all can stay here and join us with a cup of tea. And thank you very much for helping us celebrate Refugee Week and helping us to restore hope as well. Okay, thank you very much.